Hello everybody, this is Prasad Naidu here from Lighthouse Insights. Welcome to a new episode of Conversations. Today we have Avinash Shenoi, who is the founder and director of Instaclique. Hi Avinash.
Hey, Prashant. Sure. So I'm Avinash and I'm one of the founders at Instaclique. A little bit about my background. I originally come from the technology background. Did my engineering in Pune, from Pune University, engineering in computer science. Then I was in the US for grad school primarily. Got out of grad school with a MS in computer science from University of Maryland way back in 2000, 2001. So this is the time when I got out of school. It was the dot-com bust. And I joined my first startup right out of grad school, more out of compulsion than out of choice really, because all hell was breaking loose last time round. And that went very well. So actually, I really liked that experience a lot. We were a really small company. We grew that company both in number of people, the product, number of customers, and we finally sold that company to Symantec in 2004. By that time, the startup bug had kind of already bitten me, and then I left Symantec soon after the acquisition, joined another startup, did that for some time, then moved back to India in 2007, started our services company, again as a startup, grew that from 2007 till we started Instaclique in September of 2012. So that's when Instaclique was born. And a little bit about the other members. Tripti, she's also my wife, was a founding member at our previous company also. She's involved with that company as well as this. So she's the other person, takes care of all operations, really makes the things happen, lets me and our other third founding member, Amol, focus on the company while she gets all the operational stuff done. 100% salaries on time, without a single day's delay, all the regulation that needs to happen, especially important in India, because there are lots of compliances and regulations that companies need to comply with, and she makes sure that we are fully compliant on all fronts, as well as, like I said, things like salary and making sure the staff has everything they need to operate. And the third person is Amol Potnis. He now takes care of complete technology, so he's the CTO. I have slowly moved out of the technology space in terms of Instaclique, just because of the kind of demand that we're seeing from customers. And Amol has now taken over completely on that front. And I now interface more with customers, partners, try to bring on more customers and look to scale Instaclique. So that's a little bit about our team and where Instaclique is at today, and a little bit about my journey and how it came to be here. It's kind of again a little bit of a long story. So there are a bunch of things that need to come together to really form the company. And only one thing is the idea that you were referring to. So when we did our services company, or rather started our services company in 2007, we ran that for about 5 years. And a little bit about our services business is that we build products for other people. So it's an outsourced product development company. We used to build products for customers primarily in the US. So we were very good at it. So completely from the execution standpoint, we were really good at building products. A lot of the products that we built became hugely successful. So we said, why can't we actually come up with a product idea? We're doing the execution and we seem to be doing it just right. Products that we are executing on are becoming hugely successful. Why can't we take the next step and really come up with our own IP? So we slowly transitioned out of the execution space to see what were the problems that are interesting to solve. And e-commerce, when we started in 2012, was really booming. Lots of venture money flowing in, lots of hype. So we tried to dive a bit deeper into what was really going on. And we found that actually, in spite of all the hype and the money and everybody jumping in, there were significant amount of problems with none of the players really in the e-commerce space really making money. Everyone betting on the fact that eventually they would make money, but at this point in time, the business model seemed to be on very thin ice. And if you weren't able to take the next step, you probably sink. And so we saw that, and we saw a real problem where, in spite of all this high money, lots of people looking at sites, people actually buying was dismally low. Conversion rates sub 1% in a lot of cases. And we said that clearly isn't right, because if you look at retail in general, conversion rates tend to be between 8 and 10%. But in e-commerce, if it's 1%, then there's something fundamentally wrong. And we looked at what is different. What is different in e-commerce as opposed to traditional retail. And we said that the one key difference we found in e-commerce is that the whole experience was very lonely. When you were on a site trying to buy stuff, you're by yourself. And we realized that that's not how people really shop or make any decision. We saw that almost all humans make a decision in a social context. Means they will ask somebody, they will need to feel comfortable about that decision, and that's when they will make that decision. And we said that just like how in an offline store you have that social context, you can go with your friends to the mall, you can ask them their opinion about products and factor all that into making your buying decision. Why can't we do that online? And we said if we can do that online, then maybe that's the missing link, which will make people buy a lot more online. And that's how we came up with the idea of making this happen online. And one of the key things that lent itself to enable all this was the fact that social networks had become so large. So it was not just e-commerce that was booming. On the other side, the whole social network was booming as well. And we said if we can bring these two together, then maybe that's what people need, and then they would buy more. And that's why we came up with this idea, and Instaclique was born really. What it does is that e-commerce stores use Instaclique to provide the kind of experience that I talked about, which is this offline social buying experience on their store.
Right.
So we actually sit in an e-commerce store like Satyapal, for example, who's a customer of ours. A bunch of others, Luxurian World, Studio Rudraksh right here in Pune. So StudioRudraksh.com, which is a Pune store. They had a traditional brick and mortar store. They just went online. They sell designer apparel. So they use Instaclique. Instaclique kind of gets embedded in the e-commerce store. And once it's embedded, the customers or the shoppers that come to the online store benefit from this kind of an experience. And that's how really the model is, that's how we work. So we show up as a small widget on e-commerce stores. So if you go to a store that was integrated with Instaclique, you'll find your friends and family in that store with you. You'll be able to interact with them in real time, ask them an opinion from the e-commerce store, share a product with them to get their feedback or their opinion. They can then recommend something else to you, saying that maybe this won't look good on you, why don't you try this from the store. That kind of an experience is what shoppers get when Instaclique is embedded on the store. And what the store gets is a lot of this engagement and consequently more people buying, which is what finally they're interested in. Features that we're coming with, like some of the things that you referred to as well, we're expanding beyond Facebook to Google, Twitter. The reason we did Facebook first was because it was maximum bang for the buck. Almost everybody is on Facebook. But that's not it. I mean, we'll do more stuff there. The other key features that we're bringing out is bringing out this whole the store salesperson experience. So like I said, the idea is that bringing the offline buying experience online. So one part is that you'll be able to go shopping with your friends. The other part is just like in the offline world, a store salesperson who's a human notices your behavior in the store, kind of can tell your intent. If you're a regular, he knows what you've done in the past. If you're with a group of friends, he knows what other people in your group have done. And based on all that behavior and that kind of intent that you're exhibiting, he can come up to you and give you a specific discount that he may not give any other people. So these are targeted promotions or personalized pricing to you that other people may not get. And that's a feature that we're bringing online as well, where we can track the behavior of people and we can tell their purchase intent. And based on that, we can give targeted discounts to specific people, and that's not for everybody. And that leads to conversion a lot more than standard discount that everybody sees and gets. So that's one of the other things that's coming out. The third is the ability to engage and interact with the salesperson. So that's another key feature that's coming out. So these are some of the key things that we're working on at this time, and will be out pretty soon. And then the other big effort is to improve the whole experience and the UI and how all of this happens. Because our philosophy is that Instaclique needs to be like air, where when you're using it, you don't even think twice about the fact that you're using it. But when it's not there, then you don't know what to do. So it needs to be like that. It needs to be something that comes naturally to people, where they use it without thinking they're using it. And that's a big effort in the user experience side of things. So that's the other thing that we're working on. Excellent question, and I think we're already tackling it. And it combines both the things that you raised, mobile and offline. And both of these things are tackled by the same feature that we already have actually. So we have a mobile app for Instaclique, and that's for use primarily by offline brick-and-mortar stores. So the whole experience that I described online, the same thing is available from the mobile app, wherein you can walk into the store with your phone, scan the barcode on an item. So, for example, you walk into a boutique, you scan the barcode on a dress, and you get product context, which is the photograph, the price, and different kinds of photographs, etc. And then from your phone, you can then engage with your friends and ask them an opinion. So everything that happens online after that happens from your mobile phone. And instead of being online on an online store, you're in the actual physical store, and all this interaction you're doing from your mobile phone. And that's something we already have, both for Android and iOS. These two apps are available. And the way we see this being used is actually by integrating these features into the store's app. So that's how this thing will pan out.
And this is my personal inquisitiveness. Obviously, the question is also related to Instaclique.
Okay, so two things. When we deal with data, data inherently I think is a very sensitive subject. So we deal with it fully mindful of that sensitivity.
Right.
So I must say that we do several things to ensure that everything that we do in terms of data, we do it with full buy-in from all the entities involved. Mm-hmm. And the entities being the store and the shoppers, right? So there are multiple levels at which these controls are there. So first, the store actually determines what data is collected and what is not collected. So when the store deploys Instaclique, they get to configure how Instaclique behaves for their store. So only what data they want collected, what the store wants collected is collected. Step one. Step two is over and above what the store wants collected and what they think is important. The shoppers have the final say on whether that data gets collected or not. So even if the store wants to collect data, there is a setting in Instaclique that shoppers can choose to turn on and off. So if shoppers are not comfortable with their data being collected or used or anything done with their data, it will not happen. So that's to deal with the whole sensitivity of data issue. In terms of what kind of data can be collected, almost everything. What you view, what you buy, what you looked at, how many times you looked at, your entire behavior that shows your purchase intent. So everything can be collected. Out of that, what is collected is, like I said, prerogative of the store and the person. So like I said, Instaclique is the platform. The store and the people really get to decide what gets into their life. All of this data, so all of us customers, right? I mean, collect all or some subset of this data. When we collect it and then we use it. And where we use it is for what I call this personalized pricing. So we use all that data actually to give the customer a better experience. So, like I said, if you're looking at a certain category a lot, your friends have bought from that category, it's a certain time of the year, it's a festival time, you're kind of, we can tell that you're on the fence on a certain dress that you want to buy. The store can set up rules in Instaclique to say give that person a 5% discount. And even the distribution of the discount happens from Instaclique. So that's where the data is used to answer your question as to where it's used. So all this data is collected and that's how it's used. And with the end result of it leading to one, the shopper buying what they want to buy, they ending up with a better buying decision, and the store getting a buy. So that is really the benefit to these two stakeholders. So on several levels there are different challenges. So the biggest challenge across different departments I think is scale. In terms of sales and reach, there is a challenge with scale. How do I get Instaclique onto every store out there? That's one challenge in the sales and reach department. In the engineering technology department, the challenge with scale is if I get large number of users, so let's say we get a store with 1 million visitors, everyone on average has 500 friends, we're talking about a data set of 500 million, right off the bat for one store. So that's the technology challenge to deal with scale. I talked about the sales and reach challenge to deal with scale. So scale across the board is a big challenge. So that's one of the biggest challenges that I think that we face today. The second is the whole experience. Like I said, our philosophy is that it has to be like air for people to use it, and the power is only like we get these 500 million data points only if people use it, and people will use it only if it comes very naturally to them. So that's the second challenge, is to how do I make it such that people don't even think twice before using it. They just kind of naturally use things, like how they've taken to WhatsApp or other things like that. So the challenge to make the experience such that happens is the second challenge I believe that exists. So if I were to talk about the top two challenges, this would be it: scale and experience.
Brilliant, Avinash. Thank you for your time, Avinash, for speaking to us.
Excellent.
And we at Lighthouse wish good luck for you and your team at Instaclique. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Prashant. Appreciate it.